Roy Jones Jr, Kalle Sauerland, congratulations for the win. First of all, Roy, let's start with yourself. What did you see out there tonight?
I saw a very good performance. Started out with the left hand domination, something that we've been working on because everybody knows that Chris Eubank can fight. Well, what we're working on is trying to teach Chris Eubank to depend a little bit more on his boxing. And tonight he came out and showed that he can depend on his boxing, and he's still a very good and exciting fighter.
You've said throughout your journey together that he's a fighter open to learning. Are you seeing that progression now from what you're working on in the gym and what you're seeing in the ring?
Not only am I seeing it, everybody's seeing it. You understand me? It's hard to ignore it because, like I said, it's not the fact that people always say, you try to teach people to fight like you. No, I don't. I try to teach people how to fight with the mind concept that I had, the mental concept. You can't make a giraffe fight like a hippo. You understand me? So certain people aren't going to fight a certain way. You understand me? But you can add to what a hippo has and add to what a giraffe has. But my goal is to add to what Chris has. You understand me? Not to make Chris fight like Roy, to add to what Chris has. Now, some things Roy did were immaculate, but they were different because they weren't for anybody in boxing. So some of these things that he's learning, he had them, just had to be brought out of him. And that's my goal and my job.
What problems did Liam Williams pose tonight, and how did Chris deal with them, in your opinion?
He really didn't pose many problems at all. The only thing I didn't like, that I do have to address when we get back in training, is that when a guy feints low at you, over here, a lot of guys, they don't understand distance. And that's the same reason that Usyk gave Joshua such a time, because Joshua didn't understand distance. When a guy gets that low, you can't stay high, because if you remember, that's how Joe Frazier knocked down Muhammad Ali. And you gave Liam a few too many shots up high like that. A good puncher like a good left Canelo, you can't give him those shots. So that's what we got to address immediately at the start of the next camp. Other than that, everything was superb.
Kalle, what did you see out there tonight? What was your opinion of the fight?
I mean, in terms of the fight and the sport, pretty exactly what Roy said. I would add to that was you could see in the first 3 rounds from where I was sitting, and I haven't seen any replays yet, was that they'd worked, and I saw them warming up as well, and you know, they were working very much with the left, you know, the jab come hook, last minute hook, and it was working perfectly, keeping the distance with his jab, especially the first 3 rounds. He was walking onto everything, every left was landing, and then he picked up an injury around the 4th round, and you could see then that what they've learned, what Roy has managed to successfully transfer to Chris, is that he knew he had one hand at that stage. He wasn't using the left. The right eye was closing, and instead of using the left more, he was using it less. So it was very clear there was an injury at that stage for me. And then you know, he showed tonight as well. You know, I often read, yeah, he's tough and he's a fighter, but his best defence is his chin. But tonight he was rolling. He was rolling punches. He was moving out the way, and you know, there was big cheers from the crowd. But very often those cheers must have been from people right at the back, because they weren't landing punches, and it was a very, very low amount. If you looked at the percentage of thrown and landed punches, that for me was just as impressive as the work early with the left, which, you know, after the 3rd round, really, unless there was going to be some dramatic turnaround, you know, the fight was over almost. You know, so it was storming stuff. I said it was a masterclass on so many different levels, and now we move on.
Before we speak about moving on, Chris Eubank Jr fights are always massive occasions. They are always big occasions. Where does this one stack up? When you stack it up to some of the biggest fights of his career, how big was this as an event?
No, I think, you know, it's difficult to compare it crosswise. You know, obviously the first Saunders fight was a big fight. If you did Billy Joe Saunders Part 2 today now, it would fill any stadium in the country. So difficult to say. James DeGale was you know, he put DeGale into retirement in the O2. You know, there was, you know, there's other big fights. George Rose, Yildirim, but you know, every fight's different, and for me it was similar to the Yildirim fight in terms of that it really was a cauldron of hatred against him. And I'm hoping Because I always think it's important in sport, you know. Listen, they pay their money, they've got their right to shout for their man and boo the other guy. I think that's okay. That's professional sport. That's what we get paid for. But at the end of the fight, when someone wins fair and square, you've got to then just tip your hat and say, all right, tonight you got it. That's what boxing and fighting, stand-up fighting is about. It's about, you know, a controlled violence with a set of rules, and there's a winner and a loser. Fair enough. Hats off to Williams for showing the heart. Yes, he fought a dirty fight. He said that before. He did exactly what he said, but he showed massive heart, you know, and I'm sure he'll come again. He's a great lad, and I'm not reading into those things before, but he's been pulled up by the board now, because I think you can take all these things out of context before, you know. I don't think they meant those things for 1 minute, and you know, he's a good family man, and I wish him all the best.
Final one, Kalle, you said we move on. What is the plan for Junior next?
Well, the plan is to fight at least twice more this year in big fights, and you know, people are straight away talking about Golovkin. I saw Golovkin last night putting out a statement that it's a cheap approach to trying to make the fight. I don't know if cheap approach is saying we're doing it at Wembley Stadium on Sky Box Office is a cheap approach. I'd love to see the expensive one, because I must have learnt the wheel backwards then. But at the same time, they have a fight. So when journalists ask me, oh, is he Golovkin next? I say, no, he's got a bloody contract to fight Murata. If I say it, I'll probably get a lawsuit on Monday. So yes, of course we love the Golovkin fight. There are other world champions out there. There are other things happening. Andrade's given up the belt. There's a fight that's taking place for that belt. We'll look at the winner of that maybe. You know, there's lots of different routes to it. Is it a belt next? Is it another British name? I threw out Kelbrook. Conor Benn's thrown his name into his hat, name to that tonight. So, you know, let's enjoy the moment. You know, this wasn't a tune-up fight tonight. We had 2 of those last year. This was a proper fight tonight. It was a masterclass performance, and we go on.
Final one to you, Roy. Last time we spoke after Chris's fight, you said we were preparing already for the next fight. What happens now, training-wise? To take a week off, take 2 weeks off to get straight back into the gym?
Take 2 weeks off, give the knuckles a chance to heal up. They will take care of some business things that he already said he had to go do. And then we'll be right back at it.
Boys, congratulations tonight.
Thank you.